It's been a very positive experience. We exchanged several emails and talked about what kind of shots we wanted to do. Talked about wardrobe, location, and things like that. And it's been a very positive experience. The artist does great makeup work and has a great visual eye for getting what she needs to get. Finding work on the internet sometimes can be a little harrowing. There are good and bad experiences. My experiences with the artist have been very good, but I've also found that working through the internet and finding jobs through the internet can also be sometimes a negative experience. You just have to use your common sense and be a little more careful about watching for spelling errors in the ad. Something as simple as that can tip you off. That it's not going to be a good experience, or that they advertise for something that they want to do, and once the conversation gets started with them specifically, it starts going in a different direction. So you have to know what you're willing to do. Sometimes when I do know that I'm going out on a job that I've gotten through the internet, if I've never met the people before, it's obviously best to meet them in a public place, and I always leave some contact information with someone else and let them know that if I don't call them by a certain time, that they should probably start calling me or something like that. But usually, before that would ever happen, you would know through your initial interactions with whoever you're dealing with through the internet that it may not necessarily be the right experience for you. But overall, I can say that the work that I have gotten through the internet, I would say 90% of it has been great and positive, and I've met a lot of fantastic people doing a lot of great work.
I just started laughing because I get lots of emails with people typing in text lingo.
And you can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, and it's very unprofessional. And regardless of whether or not it's a paid job, you still have to portray some level of professionalism because you never know where that's going to lead you.
Absolutely, and you never know what experience the person has that you're dealing with on the internet, vice versa. I mean, you don't know the experience of the artist, and the artists don't know the experience of the actors, models, performers. So it's a two-way street in a constant level of professionalism, because if you do want to be in this business, there is a certain level of professionalism that is expected of you. Once you get to a certain level, that level of professionalism is obviously initiated by your agent, so you want to make sure that you get a decent agent that's going to represent you appropriately, or a personal manager who will represent you appropriately as well. Very important.
Have you ever had any jobs where it's conflicted with your personal, religious, or political beliefs?
I can't say that I have, and I guess that's because I'm a pretty open person, and I'm pretty open to any kind of experiences. Specifically, as I discussed with the artist during one of our interactions, posed nude with a group of almost 3,000 people in a 57-degree day in Cleveland to be part of a piece of art. I've also recently been cast in a film school that deals with domestic violence, and one of the questions that was asked of me in the audition was, do you have an issue with the premise of the film? And generally, I don't have any issues if I feel it's a legitimate cause, and that awareness would be helpful through the art itself.
Has acting or any of the auditions or anything that you've been doing creatively impacted your life personally?
I wouldn't say that they've impacted my life personally. It's always a challenging experience, because in the audition room you never know who's going to be in there and what you're going to be asked to do. I've been on traditional auditions where you receive copies of the script, or the sides as they're called, before you go in the room, and you have an opportunity to look them over. You go in, you read with someone who's sitting at the desk, and the audition's over. I've had other auditions that kind of make you think about being more prepared, specifically when you go into an audition with maybe questions that you don't think people are going to ask. I recently had an audition where I was asked if I was a superhero, what would my power be? Or if I preferred cats or dogs. So you just never know what people are going to ask you to do in an audition. Obviously, if it's something that you're not comfortable with, you should state that immediately. That's not something I was expecting in this interview, and I'm not comfortable discussing it. And hopefully just try and move on with the rest of the audition.